Today I'm going to share with you how you can find out from your own signature the few weaknesses and strengths, and you can harness your strengths and make few changes. Hi everyone, this is Jaya Karamchandani, and just like people know you by your name, before they meet you, they can also know a lot about you, your strengths and weaknesses, just by looking at your signatures. And not just that, your signatures can also speak about your success, about your future, and what are the physical or health issues you may be having, or even emotional issues. Few strokes, few capitalizations, the slants, the upward or downward stroke speaks a lot. And this is another reason I have seen the growing trend in the industry, whether it's on the professional level, they are hiring the executives, they make sure they just get their handwriting also evaluated, because it speaks about the hidden tendencies or the strengths, and where the companies are investing their time and efforts to give the training for the leadership. Now on the personal front, a lot of times people come asking about, so is this the real persona? Because as you dress up to look pretty, or you may put on a different personality altogether when you are in the group, but your signatures, you cannot hide what your real personality is. So I thought, why not share with you some few tips so you can make changes. But if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, or if you have watched me here for the first time, please go ahead and subscribe and click that bell notification so you don't miss an episode. But again, thanks for joining here in this episode. So let's dive in. Whenever you put your name on the paper, it is not just your name, it is your personality. It is how you are portraying yourself in the eyes of the world. So your public image, your inner image, your inner soul, you know more than anyone else. But externally, how the world views you, one of the key factors is your handwriting. Now, few things I have seen people make the mistakes again and again. So what I would like for you is, before I share, why don't you put your signature on the paper, write your name, or just start scribbling or writing whatever you do without thinking on a regular basis. This is your real you, whether you are in a rush or whether you have time. This is how you always put your signature. Now after this episode, see if you have any of those errors or areas that need improvement. So go for it. Now the very first thing that most of the time I notice that people either when they are in a rush write their first name or the last name, or they just start writing the first name and then put the last name, the first letter, things like that. What I would say is, irrespective you have a short first name or a short last name or a long last name, or the middle name or the first name, you cannot miss any letter in it. You shouldn't. Now let's say this is an example. So this is an example. I have written Emma. Now whenever you're writing, this is the first name. So what I would like for you is to, let's say whatever your name is, you put, let's say I'm writing my name. When you put your first name, you start not just the first name and the first letter of the last name, you go all. Now whenever you write your name, just for example purposes, now if you have a long last name, it's fine, you still have to put an effort. So you write the very first row, you always write your first name and last name. If you have a middle name as well. Make sure when you are writing or you're putting your signature, you put your first name and the last name and the middle name as well. Now second, the first letter of your first name, or if you have the middle name, or if you're just using the last name, should always be capital. Now you may ask why. First of all, do not write your signature or the full name in all capital letters. What I'm suggesting is just write your first letter of the first name and first letter of your last name in the capital letter. Whenever you write your first letter in the capital name, it speaks about your confidence. It speaks about your clarity. It speaks about your clarity about your goals and your visions, and that you stand for who you are inside and outside. There is no duality. Now, what happens when you are writing your entire name in all capital letters? That means it's egoistical. Someone who has a lot of ego and arrogance, and it's a fake boost. Inside, they are not as strong, or they do not know how to react, but in the eyes of the others, they are carrying a persona which doesn't relate with their true self. This is why you should not write your first name and last name in capital letters, just the first letter of the first name and for the last name also. Now, if you have the first name, middle and last, the first name reflects who you are, your personality, your gifts. Middle name reflects your present here and what you are here to deliver. But if you don't have, that is fine. The first name is your personality and what you can harness from the divine. The last name is what you have inherited. Some of your karma, your family, and your family support as well is the last name. So don't skip that. After that, as I said, your signature should be legible. A lot of times people write signature. Let's say you start and you are in a rush and you just go. Can you read what it is? So they start with a stroke, they start with few letters and they just go scribbling. Make sure your signature is legible. You can read every stroke, every letter of your signature. Do not skip. And the reason being, every letter is a numerical value. And that experience, 1 gives you leadership, 2 is relationship and partnerships, 3 is creativity. Whatever letters you have, if you are scribbling, you're missing that experience in your life. And this also shows that you are not focused in your life. You start something with lot of passion and then you skip the details. You're not detail oriented. You're not straight. You don't speak directly straightforward. You try to play around with the words. When you skip a letter, you are skipping an experience also. So don't skip any letter as well. Second, what you can do is, I've seen a lot of times the first signature is big and the last letter, let's say they start and then they go. Do you see? Big, and then small. In comparison with your entire signature, make sure the strokes and the size of the letters flow with the first letter of your name or the first letter of your last name. When there's a disparity between the entire name and the first letter, it shows the person has a lot of arrogance and ego, but there is a disconnect with their own inner self. They lack the clarity in their approach as well, and this disconnect will show in their personal life with their relationships. People, 2 of them might be living together, but a lot of their real self, the other partner may even not know. This is, lot of details are hidden. So try to make sure the relationship of the first letter of your name or the first letter of your last name in comparison to the full name is in alignment. Make sure they flow well. You can see they are connected. This is just the way to show it's written. When you write your signature, make sure it flows. So let me give you a recap. It needs to be the capital letter, but not all caps. Second, when you're writing, make sure every letter is legible and the strokes are in proportion and everything is clear and legible. The other thing, a lot of times people write the first name and there's the space in the last name. You see the gap here between the two? It shows they trust themselves more, they carry themselves, they do not connect with their family name or their family. You do not leave the space between your first and last name. Make sure it is in alignment with the first and last name. The strokes flow properly. There isn't much gap. Not to miss letters, but make sure you're keeping track of how exactly you're writing your signature. Now, the other important thing, what you can do is, whenever you're writing a signature, let's say someone who writes the signature and it flows well, and then there is a slant. Whenever you write a line or underneath your signature, it speaks about your stability, your confidence, that you're practical, you are organized, and it also speaks about support from the universe towards you. You get stability in life, you have balanced approach. So that is where you should put a line. Now, when you put the line, let's say someone who's writing the name let's say you just scribbling and you wrote the signature. Now, when you write a line, there are a couple errors. When you write a line straight, it means you have stability, but you're happy with your life the way it is, the routine. But when you write a signature slant, 45 degree, no more than that, 30 degrees is the best. This means your growth is slow but consistent. You have balanced approach. Suddenly you want to go up, then that success doesn't stay for long. You have a balanced approach, you gradually grow and progress in life, and you're able to hold that success in your life. But if you have a straight slant, it shows you are stable, you know what you are doing, your work, but you're happy where you are. The passion is missing. You do not want to move up, or you do not seek opportunities. You're just happy where you are. This is what it shows. The other thing, you saw the scribble? The letters are missing. You don't know where it's going. So make sure the slant is a little stroke upward and each letter is legible. So you know by looking at people's signature where it is. Now, a lot of people after this, what they do, they write their first name. Let's say I'm writing here Emma Rose, and then they put a dot, or they put a line and they put dots. Dot is what? The period is what? When you stop in life. A sentence finishes and then you put a dot. When you put a dot, it signifies to the universe that stop the growth and opportunity. You have yourself demanded no more. Your success stops. Don't put the dot after your first name. A lot of people write like this, Emma dot Rose dot. A lot of people will write Emma Rose then dot. Your name, don't put the dot, it stops. Subconsciously you are signaling to the universe that you're happy where you are and your growth will stop. At work you may be working very hard, but someone else is going to take the credit for your work because suddenly the growth has stopped. Don't do that. Now a lot of people recommend you put dot underneath. Now when you put one dot, then you put second dot, that means it's continued. You may see when you're writing, when you're continuing to the next page or the next chapter, a lot of times at the lower end of the page, they just put the dots. Now 2 dots means to be continued. Your success, you're continuing. 3 dots means it has stopped, it cancels. So I highly recommend not to put any dot at all. Now one other mistake people do, and I'm going to share in other examples here. A lot of people write their signature. Let's say they start the signature in this case, in this circle. Whenever you are encircling your own signature, that means you have closed yourself. Suddenly you have put an invisible veil around you. So at work, you work very hard, you deliver projects, but the success just misses you because they don't see you. This is what it does. You have suddenly put a shell around yourself and closed yourself and signaling to the opportunities that you don't need anymore, you do not exist anymore. And whenever I see this, this also shows that such people don't share their innermost feelings. They are afraid of trusting others. They might be very successful, don't take me wrong, but this speaks that very few people will ever come to know who they are, their inner self. The fear or the life has made them that they circle themselves the invisible. In one form or the other, they might be successful. But not many people would know exactly who they are, how they feel. They hide their innermost feelings or they don't trust others. So make sure when you are writing your signature, keep track of these. But if you're watching me, let me know from where you're watching. And if you have any of these traits in your signature, then let me know if what I shared with you, how you may feel when you have these details in your signature, if this relates with you. And if you're making any changes in your signature, then just remember, you may have to do it for a certain number of days, 32 days, 46 days, every day, your new signature, where you have taken away few elements as I just shared, which are not supporting your success. But don't just expect overnight miracles. It takes gradual growth. It's a process that gradually shows its results. Make the changes and let me know what you found. If you found value in today's video, please go ahead and share and subscribe so others may benefit as well. And thanks for tuning in today. Thank you so much for joining me today. Take